Now an instructor. It's good because I believe the expectation that after this you will be able to cascade this training to your own respective churches. That you will be able to train those who would like to be a group leader and those who would like to be an instructor. You can help them by training them. So you are a multitask person. You are a group leader, and now you are an instructor. Okay, so all instructors, please let's discuss the manual, our manual. As an instructor, or the instructors function as the shepherds and the highest level of authority within OSL class. Again, it's only for a particular class. You are not an instructor for the entire program. Because for the entire program, you should have somebody for that. That should be a program director, OSL director, or OSL coordinator, something like that. But the instructor is only for a particular class. One class, one instructor. If you will have another class, you will need another instructor or the same instructor. Okay, so instructors functions as the shepherds at the highest level of authority within an OSL class. Instructors are responsible to shepherd both their group leaders and their students. Okay, so meaning to say, instructors will become a group leader for the group leaders. He is a group leader of group leaders. He is responsible for his group leaders. The group leaders report to you as an instructor directly. Being diligent to know the state of their flock. Instructors are to hold their group leaders accountable and ensure that they are fulfilling their role to care for and diligently follow up with their students. Instructors meet with the students with any incomplete work or other issues for accountability. So that's the reason why a student is sent to you as an instructor, and you have to deal with each student with regards to incomplete work and other issues for accountability purposes, direction, assistance, and ministry. So it depends on what a particular student that was sent to you is needing. If he needs direction, you are to provide the direction. If he needs assistance, or if he needs ministry. Instructors are the only level of OSL leadership that has the authority to decide on make-up work, extensions, exceptions, and or drops for students. That's you as the instructor. You will be giving an instruction to a particular student. For example, a student misses one of his journal. Let's say he's supposed to have 7 daily devotions or 7 journal notes, and he misses one. And of course, that student will be sent to you. So how do you deal with that? Would you say to the student, "Oh, okay, that's don't worry about that. You're forgiven"? Would that be the case, or you have to require him to still make that up? So it depends. The answer to that, it depends. Later on, we will know what would be the basis of your decision making with regards to student issues. All other class leadership differs to the leadership and authority of the instructor. The instructors, of course, differ to the leadership and authority of the pastor. Of course, the instructor is it differs to the authority of the pastor. Your authority is only for a particular class. Okay. So the verse in Proverbs 27 verse 23 says, "Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herds." Summary of responsibilities: shepherding your students, love, an abundance of love work miracles. Okay, what should I say that? The main thing for an instructor is really how to use grace or law accordingly. So it's really grace versus law. Please consider Operation Solid Lives. We're here to help men and women become solid, which means these lives of students are not yet solid. So as an instructor, we put that in our minds that these people are not yet solid. That's why they're undergoing the process. We need to expect that there will be some struggles and difficulties of some students. Every student is starting out at different place. The requirements are the same for everyone, but each person or each student is at a different place in life. They have different backgrounds, they have different situations. Although the requirements of OSL are the same. So this means that these classes are more difficult for some than for others. As an instructor, as shepherds, we seek to understand the situation of each individual and instruct or guide them accordingly. For example, a single mother versus someone, a mother with a support system, or someone older versus a college student. So, as an instructor, you should know the situation, and you should be able to differentiate, and so that you will know what to apply. Is it a consideration or really the strict implementation or application of the OSL? So what would be the guidelines for you as an instructor, whether to use grace or law? There are three things here. Number one, student effort. Student effort. We pay more attention to effort, not simply requirement fulfillment. A student truly doing their best should receive more grace. So you might ask, when should I use grace? According to the Lord Jesus Christ, you give grace to what?
Humble.
To the humble. But law to the proud. Yeah. So that means when dealing with a student, if you can be able to establish that that student is really, has really exerted efforts not to have this kind of situations that he has right now, but despite of the efforts, he still has this problem or issues. That student deserves to be given grace because there was efforts on his part. Like for example, missing a worship service. If he would be given the chance, he would not want to miss the service. But the situation really calls for his absence from the service, the worship service. But his heart was really dreaming of missing that service. So there was that, you can sense that there was effort on the part of the student not to miss or not to fail a particular task. There was effort on his part, on the student's part. So the suggestion to that is you give consideration, you apply grace. But that's only effort. We still have to consider attitude also. Because not only effort, but also the attitude. The attitude of students is also important to you as an instructor. If a student doesn't have the right attitude, the right heart attitude, we must gently check them and confront them for that. Because wrong attitude is just as important to address, if not more than an unfulfilled requirement. A wrong attitude is just like an unfulfilled requirement. So if a student does not have the right attitude, even if he has the efforts, you were able to see that there was efforts on his part, but his attitude was not right before God. So I think because of the attitude, you don't give consideration, you don't apply grace there, because it would take the efforts and the attitude for you to apply grace. So if that is the case, like for example, if he misses one journal notes, you may instruct him to, I think you have to make up. If he misses a service and he does not deserve grace or consideration, he missed one service, you will ask him to attend another service, an extra service, worship service, just to fill up the missing service that he has. Okay, you got it?
Yep.
So that means, because he is not deserving of grace, you are to apply the law. But if he is deserving of grace, then you might forgive the failures that he has on a particular issue. Because what is important is the heart. You were able to sense that the heart was there and the right attitude was there, so you give consideration to apply grace. You don't have to ask him to make up or to still do what he had missed. Okay, so using grace effectively, giving grace at the right time can help genuine students get past a roadblock and retain their spiritual growth momentum. Giving grace at the wrong time can stall a student's growth and even cause frustration. There are times giving grace at the wrong time, at the wrong person, will do more damage than good to a person. Example, we have examples at the next page. Genuine person who didn't do their journaling for multiple days in level 1 due to discouragement, but bounced back after a few days and came to class. Giving grace can help them continue with a fresh start, provided they qualify for the grace because there was effort and there was good attitude. Another example, a person who knowingly went over the media time, presuming they will receive grace. Giving grace can reinforce a carnal stronghold. If a student went over the allotted media time, and you give grace to that person, you consider him, and you don't require him to make that up, you are encouraging or reinforcing a carnal stronghold of that student.
When you say media time, it's the time they watch TV and
Everything, TV, internet, Facebook, because in level 1, student is only given 2 hours per week. 2 hours for the entire week to spend for media. They cannot go over more than 2 hours. For the entire week, just for 1 week. It's actually in the disciplines, in your booklet, but let me explain. That media fasting, we call that media fasting. It includes internet, reading of books, magazine, or listening to worldly songs, watching secular movies, Facebook, internet, even cell phones. If you're using your cell phones for unimportant things, those are we call unnecessary habits or distractions. You can only do that for 2 hours every week. More than 2 hours,
They can't watch news.
yeah, including watching news.
The news alone is already 1 hour.
But here is the exception. The exceptions are this. Not including work related, ministry related, and study. For example, you are a student and you need to use internet for research. So we don't count that. That's exception. So ministry related, work related, and study related, you can have your time. But other than that, you only are given 2 hours.
Last games, right?
Plus games. Plus games. Why is that included in the system? Because we are allowing students to have more time with the Word and with the Lord. So those times that are being used up by these kinds of distractions will be replaced with the time with the Word and with the Lord. Because sometimes they can sit 2 hours watching TV, but they cannot read their Bible for 30 minutes. It's very long. They can even pray for 10 minutes. It's very long for them. But they can spend time with this media thing. But again, not including your ministry. If you're using Facebook or internet for ministry, go ahead. Nothing wrong with that. It's all about, it's still part of being a disciple of the Lord and part of your necessary thing. 2 hours per week. So you have level 1 is 4 weeks. So it's only 4 weeks. Never mind. After 4 weeks, you don't have limitations anymore. So you tell yourself, it's only 4 weeks. It's only 4 weeks. Only 1 month.
Did you say limited at 2 hours a day?
A week. A week. 2 hours a week. Not a day. It's really a week.
We can watch 2 movies.
So you divide.
You can't watch.
You divide your 2 hours within a week.
We watch the first half of Titanic.
No, you watch a movie high speed.
You read your news faster.
Yeah. Okay, so
But even though you don't read news, you don't read, you don't watch you don't make use of it as. But if you don't use your time profitably, also it becomes the same.
if you can justify that it has something to do with your ministry or with your work or with your study, if you can justify, then that's justifiable. For as long as you can explain that it has something to do with my ministry, it has something to do with my work.
Yeah, but once you need to write your journal, you need to read your Bible, you really don't have time to.
Yeah, that's why.
Because you will do it every night after work. You will do it. So
That's what we say. Because you have to do your daily devotions and daily journaling, and you have to listen to the teachings. So you're replacing, you will be using your time more on listening to the words of the Lord. So you can have time. So the design of this is for you to really have time, and this is a help. But if you're not ready for that, you can say to your students, if you're not ready yet, you might want to prepare yourself for the next level 1 class. You don't have to force. Okay? So that's why we have some drops of students also, because they find themselves really struggling and they could not really control themselves. It's really, it's really hard for them. So maybe it's not that yet their time. Just
If a student comes and tell you that he has finished all of his assignment, everything you like this, you ask him to do, it is still time. Can I watch the TV?
That's what I was wondering.
for as long as he went over time, he will face face the instructor, he will go to the instructor.
So is the media fast for 4 weeks, the whole class time?
Again.
The media fast, is it for the 4 weeks?
Yeah, for the 4 weeks. Yeah. So it's really for the entire level 1, 2 hours per week.
But then 1 week means 2 hours. It means one day, not 1 week.
No, your 2 hours is good for 1 week. So
7
if
days.
you will use that 2 hours just for 1 day, then you don't have hours anymore for the rest of the days. Okay? So you might want to divide the 2 hours to 7 days so that you can have some minutes with your personal interest. See, there's grace here because you're still given some, some minutes for every day for you to use. But we really mean serious with this system and with this, because we really want to help our students. As an instructor, we really want to help our students, become solid and become strong and become deeper in the relationship with the Lord. So we are helping them. So please don't make them allow them to see you disgusted with this limitation. You should, because you are the instructor, you should be able to reflect to them the rationale behind these principles of discipline and fasting for a while. We call this media fasting because you're fasting, but this is for the development of a better person. So another example is someone going through a family emergency may be encouraged not to stay in class because the situation they are facing is more of a distraction from receiving from the Lord, and the class requirements can be a distraction to their situation. So here is a case of a student who is going through a family emergency problem, and it always distracts him, the family problem. So you might want to ask him to just take the class the next time. So because if he will not benefit from the OSL, it might become a burdensome to him. So you allow him to just drop but let him decide for that, not you. Okay? Increasing accountability. The amount of grace shown students should adjust as they progress through the 5 levels of OSL. The higher level, the amount of grace should adjust also. Meaning, in level 1, you might have given a lot of grace, but in level 2, you might want to reduce those grace giving because you really want to help your students develop and become solid in the Lord. So it's really the responsibility and the jurisdiction of the instructor. There are non-negotiables. Consider, we don't change the requirements, but when necessary, we offer alternatives to accomplish our discipleship objectives. Oh, this is what I said a while ago, that you are free to do some adjustments if it is necessary, but still the objective must be achieved. The adjustment should not change the non-negotiables. There are non-negotiables in the requirements of OSL. Like for example, the attendance to the class. It's a non-negotiable. They cannot and they should not absent the class. Okay, and other things like listening to the faith builders, no exception. They cannot excuse themselves from listening to the teaching. This is one of the non-negotiable. They really have to listen to the audio teachings. Church attendance, okay, that's one. Well, if an absence to the church attendance is approved by the instructor, students generally should listen to an audio recording of the message of the pastor and take notes before the class would resume. Free audio teachings are available on the DVD. This is a case of a student missing a worship service, and it's not an excuse also. So you will assign an audio teaching for that student to listen to and still take note, as if he was in attendance during worship service. So that's the remedy for that. You give him an audio teaching to listen to. Midweek service, same as the above. Distractions, bullet last in page 2, distractions. Sporting events, plays, performance, amusement parks, carnivals. There is no one overriding response to these requests. Instead, if for example, the student would like to make an excuse for this reason, there is no overriding response to this request. Instead, we take time to ask questions and assess whether this will have a positive or negative impact on the student. For example, if a student would like to ask from the instructor, hey, Mr. Instructor, can I attend a performance, or can I watch a performance, or can I attend to a sporting events, something like that? Okay, it depends. You have to assess, as an instructor, you have to assess if this will be, or if this will have a positive or negative impact on the student. If you sense that this will help him, then you allow him. But if you sense that attending that kind of event or performance would bring negative impact to him, you may not want him to allow. Okay, so you don't compromise the objective. Questions: what is the purpose of this event? So you have to ask question: what is the purpose of this event? So you will be able to assess whether it will bring negative or positive impact. What is the purpose of this event? Is it time with the family or time with all worldly bodies? Or what messages or images will the student be exposed to? So you ask those kinds of questions. Let's go to the daily devotions. Though addressing missed Bible reading, journaling, and prayer will vary greatly from level to level, the goal of consistent, genuine daily devotions is the same. Okay? Memory verses. If you are dealing a student with an issue or problem of memory verses, we should work with each student to discover the best method of memorization for them. So you may want to advise or give some advices to that student on how he can memorize scriptures easily, okay? Or how he can avoid some distractions to the memorizing of the scriptures. Some auditory learners will benefit the most listening, the method of memorization for them. Some auditory learners will benefit the most listening to the scriptures over and over again. Those who are musically inclined may memorize best when putting the scripture to a tune, like making a music out of your memory verse, or making a kind of acrostics or whatever, so that you can easily memorize. So there's so many ways. Many people have accepted the lie that they cannot memorize. In that case, bring them back to the Word to encourage and remind them that they have the mind of Christ and the Holy Spirit's help. Missed memory verses accumulate fast, so do your best to create a reasonable make-up plan to get them back on track. Okay? This is for the case of not being able to memorize their memory verses. Student drops. You're dealing with the student drops. As an instructor, we avoid dropping students. A student chooses to fulfill the requirements or not. It's the decision of the students. Thus, students choose to drop themselves when they are not fulfilling the requirements of the class. So, as an instructor, please let the students know that choosing not to fulfill the requirements is deciding to drop the class or the course. It's their decision because they cannot really do that. They cannot choose to miss or fail. So it's their decision. Okay. And when you believe a student has come to the point where they have dropped themselves, if possible, confer with your overseer or with another instructor before making the final decision. When communicating this to the student, be sure to speak the truth with much love and always emphasize the heart and purpose of discipleship. So this is the examples of how you talk to the student. You choose to let's say you choose to what, for example, not to do the instruction that I gave you last meeting that we have. Okay? Well, since this is the second time, or you haven't been keeping up or you have been changed what we talked about. This is, for example, that you have already given a previous instruction, but again this time the student is facing with you and still not being able to do what has been instructed to him. So you will say, since this is the second time and you haven't changed, you are not getting the full benefit out of this class. You are getting cheated. It wouldn't be fair for you if we allowed you to just walk through this class without gaining the blessing or the benefit of it. Remember, this is about life change through the Word of God. And that's what I want for you. You will receive so much more when you can put your whole heart and focus into it. We love you and encourage you to please enroll for the next class. Okay, that's how you help him decide to drop that class. But again, you made it clear that it was his choice. Okay, so I think the last page is about your meeting with your group leaders. So this is the guidelines of how you would meet your group leaders. Okay, so that's for the instructors. Okay, so what is more difficult task or role, the group leader or the instructor? To your opinion? Both? Or more difficult, the role of instructor is more difficult, more challenging, because there is decision making.